I was just like everyone else, enjoying a quiet evening in my apartment. I had the soft hum of a favorite podcast in the background, a warm cup of tea in hand, and the comforting glow of my living room lamp that bathed the room in familiar light. It was a haven, a small piece of normalcy in a world that had grown strangely unpredictable. Then came the first sign, a notification on my phone. It was almost innocuous, just a simple alert that read, "Stay in the light, do not let the darkness win." I assumed it was some kind of quirky public safety announcement, or a misfired social media campaign. I set it aside, thinking nothing more of it. But as dusk fell, subtle anomalies began to creep in. The shadows in my apartment started to stretch longer than they should, twisting in angles that defied logic. The street outside, normally alive with the gentle glow of neon and street lamps, seemed to pulsate with an eerie, static energy. I felt a prickle of unease as though the world was holding its breath. Then the power flickered. At first it was just a brief hesitation, a flash that left the room in momentary darkness before the lights returned. I tried to shake off the feeling, blaming it on an overtaxed circuit or a glitch in the grid. But when the lights began to waver with increasing frequency, dread crept in. It wasn't long before I heard a sound, a soft, irregular tapping from somewhere deep in the hallway. I froze, every instinct screaming to stay put, to remain enveloped in the sanctuary of light. I moved slowly to the door, my heart thundering in my ears, and peered through the peephole. In the dim corridor, illuminated only by the failing glow of emergency bulbs, I saw something that sent chills down my spine. A figure, no, several figures, drifting at the edge of the light. Their forms were blurred and indistinct, as if the darkness itself was smudging their outlines. For a moment, they seemed almost human. Then one of them lifted its head, and I could swear its eyes glimmered with a cold, unearthly light before vanishing into the shadows. Backed away, the hairs on my arms rising with each trembling step. The air was thick, heavy with a silence that was anything but peaceful, a silence that vibrated with unspoken menace. Outside my window, under a street lamp that struggled valiantly against the night, I saw a man running. At first, his frantic escape seemed normal until his shadow began to act on its own. It detached, stretching and contorting as if reaching for him with a life of its own. Then the man stumbled, his cry of terror muffled by a sudden, suffocating darkness that swallowed him whole. I watched, helpless and horrified, as his form was consumed, leaving behind nothing but a writhing patch of inky absence. The emergency alert had repeated over and over on my phone. A relentless mantra, stay in the light, do not let the darkness win. It was no longer a suggestion. It was a command from a force I couldn't comprehend. I rushed back into my apartment and barricaded myself in the living room. The room that had once been a haven now turned into a fortified bunker of light. I scattered every lamp, every candle, every battery-powered flashlight around me. But even then, the edges of the light quivered, as if the darkness was testing its boundaries, eager to slip in. Then came the whispers, a low, insistent murmur that seemed to emanate from every corner of the room. I don't know how many minutes or what felt like hours I huddled there in terror. Every second stretched into an eternity as the battle between light and darkness played out around me. I kept the light burning, knowing that if it went out, I would be next. I watched as, outside my window, neighbors succumbed to the night. I witnessed a woman in the hallway, her eyes wide with terror, as a creeping shadow snaked around her legs and lifted her into a paralyzing grip. Her final silent scream was lost in the oppressive quiet of the night. Now, as I record this alert, my hands are shaking, and every light source is flickering precariously. I can hear the whispers growing louder, more desperate. The darkness is not just a lack of light. It's a presence, a hungry force that waits, patient and inevitable. I don't know what will happen when the lights finally fail. All I know is that in this battle between light and darkness, the light is our only salvation. Please, if you're out there, heed my words. Keep every lamp, every candle burning. Stay in the light, for it is your only defense against the approaching void. Do not let the darkness whisper you into silence. Keep fighting, keep the light alive, and pray that we see another dawn.